Αγαπητές φίλες, αγαπητοί φίλοι, σε αυτή τη συνεδρία θα μιλήσουμε για τον Μηχανισμό των Αντικυθήρων στο Μεξικό. Έχουμε τον αγαπητό φίλο και συνάδελφο, καθηγητή Julio Saucedo, ο οποίος θα μας μιλήσει για το πώς ο Μηχανισμός των Αντικυθήρων μπορεί να γίνει ένα εργαλείο διδασκαλίας της φαντασίας, βασισμένο ακριβώς στην αρχαία ελληνική σκέψη. Professor Saucedo.
Thank you. So my talk has to do with people, has to do with Greek culture, has to do with research, although this part of Juan Pablo will give it the next. And planets are very important in here, okay? There was already, when we decided to make this large replica of the Antikythera mechanism, there were very important works, you know. Tony Fried Nature paper where Xenophon was one of the participants. And then Michael Wright, you know. And so for me it was great that there were planets. Why? Because Armand Spitz once said, the planetarium is the greatest educational device ever invented, you know. And I have been involved with planetariums and with many interactions that have to do with the sky, with actual observation of the sky. What you will see here is many pictures that are related to predictions that daily, on a daily basis, everything is predicted about the solar system, the positions of the planets that you can see with the naked eye. So anyway, so many things are related to MAMH, which is the monumental Antikythera mechanism that we have back home, okay? So I will follow this. So we all know about the Antikythera mechanism is perhaps, and I will probably be more certainly, the most important device, vestige in the history of science and technology, you know. This is the greatest of the Greek people, you know. It's something really impressive, you know. And that's why we decided to make it like that, okay? And it all started, in fact, I met Xenophon in Luxor, when was it, 15 years ago. And then my friend Raul met him, which is next to me here. And so it developed until the point of 2018, when he gave us something like this, you know. And then we decided that we wanted to make it large. In fact, I don't see it as large as I would like to see that, you know, because the thing is that everyone can be able to see, you know. So anyway, this, to make it gigantic and functional, to turn it into an extraordinary educational resource. And that's what it is, okay? That's what it is. And we wanted to develop even more and more, you know, always attracting more and more people and bringing people to science, to astronomy, you know. So first it started with the one-to-one device that has the planets, but it's not functional. You can turn the knob and put it the day you want, and you will see the predictions. That was the first thing that was done. And after that, we have developed the large one, you know, based on Michael Wright's numbers, they say. And eventually in Olvera's third generation, they actually have the whole team that was working over there in Puebla, Mexico, and it was eventually taken to Hermosillo. And here what you see is 3.3 meters tall, what you see here, okay? So it's 10 times larger in every dimension. This is the front where you see the Earth at the center, and then the planets and the moon with the face. And then on the back, you see up the metonic cycle and the Saros cycle at the bottom. And this is what you see on the side. You know, one of the sides, a large number of gears. okay? So this is what it looks like when you see it from, you see the planets, and it predicts the positions every day, every day. So this is an excellent instrument to teach astronomy, okay? And so this is just the backside again. For instance, in the backside you see the prediction of eclipses, which Juan Pablo will tell you how this inspired us to study the Mayan cycle using the same Archimedean spiral. You will be amazed about what the results that we got. And many other things that we have discovered, actually, about the Mayan eclipses. So this is the Metonic lunisolar spiral, 19 years cycle, and the Callippic, and also whatever about the Paralympic Games and everything. The ambassador of the Hellenic Republic was there. You can see him talking there. Nikolaos Kotrokois. He was invited by the governor of our state, to go to this place, And so here you see him and our then president and some other people here, And then for the first anniversary, which happened last year on February 8th, we had the privilege to have Dr. Musas, with us. And so we had a good time there. And in fact, we had the opportunity also to meet again in April in Nashville, Tennessee. We were invited to give a talk at some university there. Anyway, this is all related to the sky, okay? The sky and people, And this is something that I have done for so many decades, following the star every day, night, in the morning, whatever, I observe things. So this picture I took yesterday when we arrived at this hotel. You see here Castor and Pollux, and here Jupiter, okay? And these pictures, it was sent to me by Armando Ayala, who is a member of the team, and also by my nephew. I have two pictures of the same day, and they are here. And you can see that this orange thing is their Didymoi Gemini, okay? This is a basic thing. You can see whether they are in the right position, in the right zodiacal sign. This one I took in Rhodes last year, okay? And this is the moon here. I had the privilege to be here last year, and this is the moon. And in fact, I also, some of you Rhodians will recognize here, also the moon here and Jupiter they were in a conjunction last year on the January 10th. But the main thing for people is the large moon, And so you can see that this is something amazing. These are all pictures I have taken, as I say, for decades, And I keep taking data, pictures because I like to see these things, and I like to bring people to astronomy, And you can see that this one, for instance, you see the moon on the opposite side, and it's white, It's because it's a full moon, And then the moon-planet conjunctions, like this one, for instance, Venus and the moon, And you can see, again, the same, and then you will find that the Venus and the moon are in the same direction, and so on. These are other. I can show you so many of these pictures. These are all Venus-moon conjunctions, and they are always very interesting, And this one I took with the Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan last year. And it was also Regulus here, which is some very important thing about the planets, about the certain stars that are very close to the moon because they are close to the ecliptic. And these were very, very, very interesting. Not only to Greeks. In the past, the Mayans observed this, and they know sidereal periods. The Chinese know this. The Mesopotamians knew this, the stars, that's how we came to eventually developed into the greatness of Greek astronomy. This long tradition, Pythagoreans, Plato, Platon, I don't know how you say it, and Eudoxus of Knidos, and then Apollonius of Perga, and Archimedes, and Aristotle, and then also, of course, the greatest astronomer of antiquity, Hipparchus. All of them related to planets. Planet is such an important Greek word, word. It's incredible. It's just heavy, heavy stuff about planets, planets. So that's why I agree that what Armand Spitz said, but for me, the Antikythera mechanism, as I see it from my own perspective, and the perspective of what we know about Marco Tullio Cicero, when he describes the planets, and many other references, for me, the Antikythera mechanism is not only the greatest astronomical educational device ever invented, but also the oldest, and the most important educational device. Anyway, these are many other things about conjunctions. So eventually you see, if you follow one conjunction, 8 years later, you see this phenomena, which is the octateris. I have so many of these because I have not started just right now. I have followed many, many years. And that's why I can keep my pictures and then compare them 8 years later, with they look so much similar, And then, of course, you see this in the Antikythera mechanism. Octateris, beautiful, beautiful. And then, of course, you have all kinds of conjunctions, even Mercury, which is supposedly, people say that Copernicus never saw Mercury. I don't agree, but people say it. And you can see here, it's not so bright, but it's there, And you can see that these are conjunctions, okay? Mars, Moon-Mars conjunctions, take a look how they are always, the moon here, the red one, there is Mars, Every single day, you can check at any time where are the planets. And then something which is very, very important for us, for people, particularly for astronomers, is when the planets are in opposition, Like a few days ago, we had Jupiter. And back home, it was a great event. There is a community of astronomers in our city that follow this, the MAMH, and also have telescopes, So they get outstanding pictures of Jupiter or Saturn or whatever whenever they are in opposition. And this is a Moon-Saturn conjunction, of course, but this is, we can go on. Venus-Saturn conjunction, and whatever combination you want to make, you can see them all, Everything is there. Everything. Venus-Mars eclipses, Okay, I was in Durango for the total eclipse, but my daughter was back home, and so she took the picture here, which is this orange arrow. You can see that the moon is dark as it should for a total eclipse, and also that is in the direction of the sun, okay? And then annular eclipses, the same, And for the Olympic Games, it is in the vestige. These two letters, LA, is in the vestige. You know that the next Olympics in 28 is going to be LA 28 is the official name of the Olympics in Los Angeles. And it's going to be there. And you can see some oppositions, these are actually, some of these are pictures like I took this from Jupiter, but there are many people from the astronomical community, CAH, taking pictures, Saturn, Mars, or whatever, they are always involved in this. But then I want to say something about the date and the true sun. This is all. There are also this information in MAMH. The vernal equinox, 20th of March. For me, this equinox shouldn't be called spring equinox, as people call it, because spring, it only happens in the northern hemisphere. For me, it would be more appropriate to call it SN, so south-north, because that's the way the sun is supposed to be going, apparently, But anyway, I have the comparison here. Actually, I have 2 years of comparison because we are almost about 2 years old with MAM. But you can see that the arrow, this arrow here, pointing up in the one above, is pointing straight up. That is what defines the March equinox, okay? And the opposite is the September, which is way down, and then to the right you see December solstice, and then June solstice of the other. Exactly 90 degrees. That's how the time is moving, and when the station is starting. And with a student that now is in Padova studying his PhD, he helped me do this when he was at our university. He's actually in the Galileo's Tower in Padova, And so I was taking pictures, and last year I talked about, in this conference, about the positions of the planets and everything, but now I'm just going to discuss this part because you can see when you take the ecliptic longitude for the sun against the time, what you see, you have a difference with the comparison, from like stellarium and then the true sun, you have the difference. And why is the difference? Okay, why is that different? This difference happens to be just about 30 degrees, okay? Well, Hipparchus, very likely the designer of the Antikythera mechanism, he is recognized for discovering the precession of the equinoxes. Of course, this is one of the greatest discoveries in history. Because of this, during the 2,170 years, just about that, this happens to be 1/12 of the 26,000, and this is about 30 degrees. And that's the reason, So basically what is happening is, it was called the first point of Aries, at the western edge of Aries, the vernal equinox. The date has always to be up, okay? But the sun is not. The sun has to be 30 degrees to the left, okay? This is due to precession. The whole ecliptic plane rotates like that due to the... So these are things that you can very easily explain to people. What is the precession of the equinoxes? Why they have this angle between the sun and the... This information is really, really very nice. And you can do it in many different ways, So for instance, this is the vernal equinox, and you can see this, the arrow for the sun, the true sun. So, it's very close to 30 degrees, It keeps the same, basically doesn't really change over a few years because it changes over hundreds of years. This is what you see in stellarium, which is also a very good device, of course. And you notice in the year minus 140, you have this position of the sun. And at that time, they were aligned like that, both of them, to the top, okay? That was exactly the first point of Aries. But now, talking about 2026, it's no longer the case. It's very far, 30 degrees far. A full constellation has shifted, and so, whatever you read in the zodiac is wrong, because you have to adjust where is your constellation, Anyway, this is something which is, but of course, this is for people, This is for the people, and we have done everything we can, and we will keep doing that, so that more people from within the city, from within the state, from the whole world, is able to see the work that we have there, you know. And this is the tour bus that from Hermosillo has never before been at the university, you know. Now it goes to the university, you know. So I'm almost finished, you know. Anyway, this is just a reflection of Emmanuel. I'm not going to read it, but I just show you pictures of people that go there, and I'm not the only one that gives explanation. I have students. Social work is needed for the students to graduate, and so we have like 5 or 6 students all the time, and plus some of the members of our team, you know, or even people that are simply very interested in the Antikythera mechanism or in astronomy, and they go there, you know. So this is something alive, something very, very nice. And it happens to be, my office is just in the back of that instrument. So I just knock the door and I come out, you know. So anyway, the Antikythera mechanism is a marvelous machine that we will not have it if it weren't for the fact that Simi divers found it at the bottom of the sea, reported their finding to proper authorities, and risked their lives to extract it, the whole treasure of the Antikythera mechanism. Forever grateful to the Simi divers. Okay? Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much, Professor.